assistance, better needed care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., starting June 5th.
The views and opinions in the following show of this station or its ownership.
Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM on the Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your host, Pat Gibbons. Wally took the day off today. I am here with two great guests, Mr. Bill Morton, who's running for 49th Ward Alderman, and his lovely assistant, Trudy Leong, campaign manager.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, Bill, what do you hear? What do you say?
I'm everywhere, and I hear everything.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. But Trudy is much more than that. She's my campaign manager. So, longtime campaign manager, Trudy Leong. She's wonderful. I couldn't get to the places that I've gotten without her. And she's not only the smartest, but she's a very, very hard worker. And she's not only just working hard, she's making smart decisions. So that's what it takes, you know.
Awesome.
To get this thing going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about the 49th Ward? What is the issues of the 49th Ward, Bill?
Sure. We have about 56,000 people in almost a 2.43 square mile area. The 49th Ward has been redistricted with the U.S. Census data every 10 years. So now we're including part of Westridge, all the way up to Western for a one-block section, but mostly Rogers Park proper, which is the Lake, Devon. Then it goes down to Clark Street, up Albion, around S&C Electric, to Ridge, and then it does all this gerrymandering until you get a little tiny one-block section between Birchwood and Howard on Western.
Oh, very interesting. Sounds like a very large part.
It's a pretty interesting ward because it's hard to gerrymander, and it's very, when it's redistricted, it doesn't change much because we're bordered by the lake in Evanston. So with Evanston to our north, that border is never going to change, and the lake, sans erosion, a major erosion event, will never change. So you only got a little bit, like maybe like 20 years ago, even Edgewater there were two little fingers that went into Edgewater to the south, but it just changes a little bit. So if you're playing the long game and you're in the ward for the 49th Ward for a long time, you could pretty much estimate where it's going to be.
Okay.
It's not going to change much. I
see. Is safety an issue within the 49th Ward?
Safety is a major issue in the 49th Ward. And honestly, the issue of senseless gun violence and the trauma that's connected to that is something that my contemporaries, my political opponents, and anybody who's in public office concerning the 49th Ward wouldn't have the balls to come on this radio show and talk about.
I don't think they do have the balls.
They're trying to sweep this issue under the rug so that they look good because it works with their numbers. And there's also the 24th District Police Department. They have their numbers as well.
Of course.
So I'm not going to speculate on the police department, but I can say that the politicians and elected officials, they are completely trying to play down and placate our neighbors so that maybe the real estate values can go up.
Sure. Trudy, a question to you. Is it hard to run a campaign in the 49th Ward? Easy? How is it for you running a campaign?
There's a lot of work getting the people together, and there are about 36,000 voters. There's a lot to do, and you have to try to work on the data, see what the interests are, and then get enough people in every precinct to work the precinct and contact those voters is it's actually, it could be a four-year campaign. 6 months is definitely not enough.
I see.
A lot of these new candidates that haven't won an election or are new to the game, they want to start just before the election. It's so exciting just before the election. I'm going to make up my mind now, but it really takes seasoned professionals to make it. It's so hard to win when the party is controlling the entire show.
Right.
From the challenges to the officials who officiate over the challenges, and we were your friend was talking about with those people yesterday, and also the political candidates stick together and fundraise together, birds of a feather, and it's very, very hard to break in. And we've been trying to do this for forever. I've been wanting to be alderman for maybe 20 years. I've seen what our former 49th Ward Alderman Joe Moore was doing or not doing, and I thought that I could do it better, and do it with more less greed, without corruption, in a way that honors our entire community and gives everyone a voice.
Sure.
Rather than just the dog and pony show meetings where the decision's already made with the developers.
That makes perfect sense. Who is the current 49th Ward Alderman?
She calls herself Alderwoman. Her name is Maria Hadden.
Okay.
She ran 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I ran against her, but she kicked me off the ballot. Joe Moore, she ran against Joe Moore too. So Joe Moore was on one side, and Maria Hadden was on the other side, and they were like a two-headed dragon coming after me. And they knocked us off the ballot the first time around.
Interesting.
Then I ran for committeeman and got on the ballot.
Okay.
And I got 17%.
Oh, that's very good.
On State Rep Kelly Cassidy, who's friends with J.B. Pritzker.
Oh.
And she's very well known and she's very well liked. But I ran for committeeman because I had the spirit in me to run again after alderman.
Sure.
When I made the decision, Joe Moore was still committeeman, and I felt like the alderman and the committeeman shouldn't be together.
Of course.
And Kelly Cassidy was state rep, and she was going to run for committeeman. And I felt like you shouldn't be committeeman and state rep at the same time.
No.
I felt that was not a conflict, but it just wasn't right.
You see a lot of that in politics, too. A lot of cronyism, a lot of buddies. Is there a lot of progressives within your ward?
There's a strong core base of progressives in our ward. There's a lot of people who ACAB, they write the graffiti. There's a lot of cop haters. There's a lot of defund the police people. There's a lot of kind of Marxist kind of sentiment going on, more on the socialist side of the Democratic Party.
That's a shame.
And it's really it's kind of all encompassing. But it's our belief that the general population of Rogers Park are everyday working people who aren't so far off the edge of the left.
Are you pro-police?
I do support the police. I believe that the police are needed. I believe that the police are outnumbered. I believe that they're underfunded.
Sure.
And I spoke with our Commander Brennan about this, and they really do need more support.
Amen. We're heading to break on WCGO 1590 AM on the Pat and Wally Conservative Talk with Bill Morton and Trudy Leong. Thank you. We'll be back soon.
There's a road I'd like to tell you about. Lives in my hometown.
Producing your own podcast can be frustrating.
Test. 1, 2.
Which is why I'm glad to be introducing the brand new multi-format network. We offer digital media, podcasting, and radio broadcasting professional standard production and syndication. Whether you're looking to bolster and polish your business presentations for a Zoom interview, host your podcast, or push your nationally syndicated radio broadcast to a satellite, we can facilitate your every need. So when you're ready to look, sound, and be professional, don't just try to do it yourself. Contact the professionals at the new multi-format network, the Multi-Format Network. From professional syndication to personal vindication, we've got your back. Shoot us an email, mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com. mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com.
Hello, radio listeners. Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We have a new conservative show on the airwaves, and it's called Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future, about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance, better needed care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. starting June 5th.
It is estimated that 1.5 million people are arrested for DUI every year in the United States. In Illinois alone, over 30,000 motorists are arrested for DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or drugs is one of the most complex of traffic charges on the books. Most people do not understand the complexities of the standardized field sobriety tests, which are horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand test. Due to improper testing procedures, many people are wrongfully charged with DUI. Whether you have been charged with a DUI or an attorney handling DUI cases, the book DUIs Decoded explains the proper procedures for standardized field sobriety testing, breathalyzer testing, and the penalties in Illinois for driving under the influence.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblow, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract. And the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblowlawoffice.com. Mark Sheblow can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblow, 773-775-5050.
Welcome back to the Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. I'm your host, Pat Gibbons, back with Bill Morton, 49 Ward Alderman candidate, and Miss Trudy Leong, the campaign manager. Bill, I want to have a bury the hatchet type of question. Where all our listeners knows who you are. Okay?
Okay.
I got a couple of friends out there that are doubters of you, and I want to clear the air on something. First and foremost, not that I'm doing my own political thing here, but I just want to say I'm currently running for the 31st Ward GOP committee person spot, and I want to be a part of the Chicago Republican Party so I can do a great change for the party. And the current 31st Ward GOP committee woman is... she's great friends with this one guy that kind of put it out there. His name is Jeffrey Fielder, an executive director of the Chicago GOP, that you're a progressive, Bill.
You know,
Bill, are you a progressive?
I met Jeffrey Fielder at Dr. Willie Wilson's penthouse.
Okay.
Dr. Willie Wilson endorsed me in my last, my most recent Aldermanic campaign. And Dr. Wilson doesn't believe in Republican. He doesn't believe in Democrat. He believes in doing good for the people.
Sure.
So when you go to Dr. Wilson's penthouse, you're going to find the entire rainbow of people's different political beliefs. So I did speak with Jeffrey, and I had a nice, good conversation with him. I can understand why he would say that, because we had different conversations, and he's firmly GOP. He's firmly in the GOP circle right over there. But Dr. Wilson endorsed me. So what do you think?
I think you're not a progressive, Bill.
There you go. There you go. There you go. In the 49th Ward, you have socialist Democrats, and they're mostly advocating for rights of trans people, and different kinds of issues like that, social issues. I advocate for public health, public safety, housing, jobs, education, and infrastructure. I'm the meat and potatoes guy, and that's what makes me different from these socialist Democrats. That's what makes me different than these progressive candidates. You know, I have a lot of volunteers and people who voted for me and follow me, and they wear like a Bill Morton button or a Bill Morton T-shirt. They can't go into our public house. They can't go into Jarvis Square Tavern. They get kicked out if they're wearing some of my things, because they are so ultra progressive left, over the edge. Like there's over the edge right, there's over the edge left.
Sure.
Like way over the edge.
Sure.
And that's where 49th Ward lies, over the edge left. And to the point where they are not accepting of every person in our community. They don't represent every person in our community. And I'm wholly against that. Should be able to walk into a business, patronize the business, enjoy. Should be able to go in there with your friends without stress, without the dirty looks, without the hatred. And that's where I am.
Interesting. Very interesting. What would you do once you are alderman? I believe one day you will be a great alderman, Bill. For safety in the 49th Ward, what's your safety plan?
Well, we have to reduce the senseless gun violence. There's no easy answer, but we have to work with the 24th District Police Department. We have to work with the new Police Advisory Board.
Sure.
We have to seek a little bit of advice from them, even though they may not have as much experience. They were elected, and I just have to say this: as for the current alderman, Maria Hadden, I don't respect the person at all due to her actions, due to what she does, what she doesn't do. She even parks her scooter like in a no parking zone.
She parks her scooter in a no parking
zone. She's got no respect, and she feels like she's beholden. Everyone's beholden to her. She's the golden chosen one. But that being said, I don't respect the person, but I respect the office. So I think that's a really good disambiguation there. Where I do respect Representative Kelly Cassidy, but since I ran against her, we really do not get along at all, and our viewpoints are not the same. We are not alike. But she's done a lot of different things, and I respect her office, but I do not respect our alder person, our alder woman, our alder man.
Sure.
Our current incumbent, and this is why. This is one of the reasons why I'm running against her, because she's not addressing the public health, the public safety. She's not getting the housing done. She said she wanted to put a shelter in. That place is still for sale. She said she wanted to put affordable housing in. That place is still for sale. The for sale signs are still on there. The zoning part is changed, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any of that.
Right.
And during the previous election, we had a huge homeless situation. People without homes in Toohey Park, tent encampment. It became famous. And if I were alderman, I would have helped those people and got them out of that park by the time the second one came down. I would have found some sort of solution for them. But she waited and waited and waited until the election came and used it as she used the homeless as cannon fodder. And that's just completely unacceptable.
Wow. You ran for alderman last election, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What was the voting turnout, the voters coming out?
Trudy.
I think the voter turnout is always very low, about 10 to 14% for both elections. There's always room to improve, and I think that if more voters had come out, Bill would have gotten a much better result, because everywhere that Bill went, people were saying, please help us get rid of the crime, address the situation in Toohey Park, address the infrastructure, address the rats, because we saw how the rats were increasing and increasing, where we spoke about that too.
Okay.
So by the time that the election came around, about 2 weeks before the election, we heard people coming up to us suddenly saying that, I voted for you, Bill, but even though you're not going to win. So evidently, probably the opposition put out the word that there's no way that Bill is going to win. And then that suppressed the vote. That made a lot of Bill's supporters say, oh, I'm not feeling very well today. I'm just going to sleep in. What good would it do for me to vote anyway? So we really think that that was the situation, because we didn't hear anything like that until the last 2 weeks. People kept on coming up to Bill, because Bill was standing every day outside the Woolly White Park campaigning, and voters went in, voted, came out and told Bill, I voted for you, even though you're not going to win. So it was very disappointing that that happened, but we will try harder the next time.
Were these Maria Hadden volunteers that said it to the voters that Bill's not going to win?
Maybe, because
I can actually tell you.
Okay.
We have a friend who is like kind of a jazz. He's a poet, spoken word artist, and he does all these different recordings. His name is Don Paul.
Okay.
And he's a good friend of ours over many, many years. And he wrote a song, said, I like Bill Morton, or whatever the song was called. It was a very positive Bill Morton song. He made 2 different versions, and he put it on YouTube. He recorded it and everything nice for us as a support. And he's from Louisiana, but he's formerly from Rogers Park.
Okay.
So he knows some of the Rogers Park politicos, some of the people who are totally against Bill Morton campaign. And those are his old hippie friends, pot smoking hippie friends. And so they emailed him back, and we were CC'd somehow into it. And they said Bill Morton has zero chance to win. Absolute zilch. And it was like capital ZILCH. And these people are the core of like Network 49 and the 49th Ward Democratic Party. And they have their claws out. They really have their claws out. And we do have to beat them, because it's critical. If we want to become if we want to win this next upcoming election, as myself, as Trudy, as a team, we're going to have to overcome these Rogers Park old-timer Rogers Park politicos that supported 49th Ward Alderman Joe Moore when he was around, because it was convenient, because he was the alderman and he had the power. They supported him. Then they turned on him and supported Maria once she got in. So real flippy-floppy people. And, they think they hold all of the power, regardless of what the people think and feel. And they put out the word that there is zero chance that I'm going to win. So you might as well not even go out and vote at all. and there was such a low voter turnout, lower than usual, I remember. But the ones who did vote, a lot of them said they would vote for me. So that's going to be a challenge in the upcoming election, to get over this little rumor mill and this little snippy, snipey, insider, better than you kind of attitude thing. If we can get over that, then I think I know we'll be doing much better, because I believe that a larger portion is regular 9-to-5ers, couples with kids, renters and homeowners, people working their jobs, full-time, professional, or minimum wage, just trying to get by people, and not these Rogers Park politicos that have an agenda in mind and think that they're the top of the power structure of all of politics. We got to get rid of those people.
Sure, absolutely. Small businesses, are they closing left and right in Rogers Park, 49th Ward?
Well, with that homeless tent encampment, there's a place called Tamalo, and they swore up and down it wasn't closed, and said thank you with a heart on it, thank you Rogers Park with a heart on the door or something. And it's never open. Yeah. So it's like a front. Like that business isn't closed, but I never see it open. Captain Nemo's closed. They closed their seats, not the sign said for COVID, but they closed the seats because all these people from the park were hanging out inside of his place. Wow. Then that closed down Captain Nemo's. There's a lot of other businesses that closed due to either the homeless encampment that wasn't taken care of, or the senseless gun violence that has never had a solution in the 49th Ward.
Are there migrants coming into the 49th Ward now?
There certainly are. They were at first they were put into the Super 8 on Sheridan and Chase in Rogers Park. And, our friend runs that. He got some nice money from the city. But then they put him into the Leon Beach Park Field House, and I felt that was not right because I'm the president of the Leon Beach Park Advisory Council. Okay. That field house is specifically for the Sam Leon Junior Lifeguard Program, where they learn not only life-saving skills, but life skills as well. And they grow up to be cops and firefighters and really prominent positions in helping people. That's what they do. So they're put into this Leon Beach Park Field House, and it's just a skeleton. It's like there's mold, there's water damage, there's lead pipes, you'd be lucky if you get any hot water. Wow. Like, I don't know how they could put people. It's not living conditions. It's completely unfinished and unfurnished.
I guess the question of the day is, what is Maria Hadden doing?
She's writing restaurant reviews right now.
Oh, there you go.
She calls From the Alderwoman's Table.
Oh, interesting.
I don't consider, maybe that's her way of trying to promote businesses, but I believe that you bring you have events in businesses, you bring people in. You mention businesses like Finally Here Hair Salon on Morse Avenue. I just promoted a business on the radio. You're supposed to do it like that. If all you're doing is going to a place and saying From the Alderwoman's Table and telling a little story, it's not enough. There's more responsibility as aldermen than that. What about the public health? What about the public safety issues? Sure. What about the trip hazards that aren't getting fixed? What about the potholes and the rats and everything else? She's not taking care of the business whatsoever, and I'm going to call her out on that.
And you should call her out.
Yeah, I'm calling her out on that.
And the people are smart enough to know that she's a big bozo, and eventually they're going to vote for you because they don't like to see businesses closed down. They don't like to see high crime, right? They don't want to see people suffer. The big poor situation with homeless people. That's not good. That's not good for our community.
And if you know me, you'll like me, and you will vote for me. And it's just a matter of time.
And you will be coming on this show again, Bill.
And I'll be back on this show, and I will be a future 49th Ward Alderman.
And you too, Trudy. You'll be coming back.
Yes.
You know, I ran for alderman last election for 31st Ward, and I relate to you that there's a big issue, not just in 49, but 31 and all throughout Chicago. Small businesses are closing left and right. Crime is through the roof. And now we have a mayor that doesn't know what he's doing, just like the last one.
Well, that's the vote.
Right.
I'm not going to. I'm never going to say that, the election was rigged. Mm-hmm. That's not me. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm going to do. I work for Cook County Department of Elections in the past. I know the system. I know how it works. Mm-hmm. I work with the Sequoia vote counting machines. I did the books and everything. Trudy and I are election judges every election that I'm not running in. Mm-hmm. For who knows how many years. I mean, so we understand the system. We're not going to say it's rigged, but we are going to win the election. Mm-hmm. And we're going to work hard to do it. And, every election that goes by, you learn more.
Sure.
And you get to understand who the flakes and phonies are that are going to rip you off and who the real, genuine articles are. And you get better at it. And you become more informed about your geography, about the people, and how to run for public office.
Interesting. Well, with that, we're going to commercial break on the Pat and Wally Conservative Talk. Thank you.
Running south on Lakeshore Drive, heading into town, just sneaking on by on LSD, fighting that trouble bound.
Producing your own podcast can be frustrating.
Test 1, 2.
Which is why I'm glad to be introducing the brand new multi-format network. We offer digital media, podcasting, and radio broadcasting professional standard production and syndication. Whether you're looking to bolster and polish your business presentations for a Zoom interview, host your podcast, or push your nationally syndicated radio broadcast to a satellite, we can facilitate your every need. So when you're ready to look, sound, and be professional, don't just try to do it yourself. Contact the professionals at the new multi-format network, the Multi-Format Network. From professional syndication to personal vindication, we've got your back. Shoot us an email, mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com. mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com.
Hello, radio listeners. Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We have a new conservative show on the airwaves, and it's called Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future, about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance, better needed care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. starting June 5th.
It is estimated that 1.5 million people are arrested for DUI every year in the United States. In Illinois alone, over 30,000 motorists are arrested for DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or drugs is one of the most complex of traffic charges on the books. Most people do not understand the complexities of the standardized field sobriety tests, which are horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand test. Due to improper testing procedures, many people are wrongfully charged with DUI. Whether you have been charged with a DUI or an attorney handling DUI cases, the book DUIs Decoded explains the proper procedures for standardized field sobriety testing, breathalyzer testing, and the penalties in Illinois for driving under the influence.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblo, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract. And the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblo at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblolawoffice.com. Mark Sheblo can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblo, 773-775-5050.
Back to WCGO 1590 AM, 95.9 FM on the Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. We're back with Bill Morton, running for 49th Ward Alderman, and Ms. Trudy Leong, his lovely campaign manager. Bill, you mentioned before the commercial break, that you have experience as an election judge. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience? You and Trudy, right, both have experience as election judges.
Well, Pat, I've been an election judge since 2012, and I love the experience. I would make sure that all the polls are clean, which means that there aren't any literature. There's no literature that's left behind in the voting booths. Mm-hmm. And then also everything. I just make sure that everything runs smoothly, and I'm in touch with Election Central if the supplies are off, and sometimes they are off. Like even the matter of like a couple of pens missing, not enough pens for the voters to fill in the form when they come in.
Sure,
it makes a big difference. But what I really want to mention is that there was in the November election when Nolan Rivera, I think he was running for sheriff, right? He was running for sheriff, Cook County Sheriff.
Yeah.
So there was a woman that was knocked off the ballot, and they were supposed to remove her name from the ballot, but they didn't.
I remember that.
And then there were supposed to be slips of paper in the election judge's envelope, and those slips of paper were supposed to be pasted in every booth and everywhere, so that when the voters are in the booth, they would see it. But they were not. Mm-hmm. And then because we didn't even have the slips of paper. So I complained to all the inspectors that came in, and then I called Election Central too. And I was in touch with Nolan Rivera. I asked him, you better ask your poll watchers to look into that and complain. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he did, because maybe he was busy with other parts of the campaign. But that was a very important part. I think that Nolan lost a lot of votes because that paper was not in every voting booth. If I was so careful in my precinct to see that it wasn't in every voting booth, I'm assuming that throughout the city, throughout Cook County, mm-hmm. He did not have any of those slips of paper enough in the voting booths. Probably not any. I'm assuming very, very little, if any.
And as election judges over the years, you have different people who become election judges. It's a paid position, mm-hmm. And they have various levels of experience. Some have the first time, and they're students. Some have been like for 10 years. Yeah. Some came from different neighborhoods. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the same kind of team of election judges. Okay. So what Trudy is speaking about is Trudy has done it for a long time. She genuinely cares. She wants to make sure that it's an easy, quick process, mm-hmm. and it's a fair election. And she believes in the election process. That's why we both are election judges. You're not going to find people that are going to be putting that slip for Nolan Rivera out everywhere.
Sure.
And sometimes, I got to say, sometimes maybe they're jaded. Maybe they don't want to put out that slip. Maybe they're not educated enough to put out that slip.
They don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And some of them just, maybe they don't even want to do the work.
Were there poll watchers?
No, the election judges and the actual envelopes should have contained those slips, but they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of a last minute deal, but it wasn't. It was not. It was not right. It should have been fixed. And there are many issues like this. Like I'm sure you've heard, everybody's heard where the election booth goes down, where all the booths go down, magically all of a sudden
a computer glitch.
Yeah, computer glitch. The electricity goes out in the Park Field House, and then you got to go from Potawatomi Park in Rogers Park to maybe like Warren Park in West Ridge, or you got to go to the Broadway Armory in Edgewater. And like these people are coming at noon, and it's a big line, and they're just coming for their work break, and maybe they're walking.
Sure.
They're not gonna go to some other neighborhood to vote, and that's what our committee person says. Oh, the things are broken. Bill, could you do me a favor and just tell them to go to this one or that one? Those are miles away.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. It's voter suppression. I'm not going to say elections are rigged, but I will say there is voter suppression. I know there's voter suppression, but not entire elections rigged. And I haven't seen the actual evidence of that part.
Sure.
So if I lose an election, okay, it's the electoral process, and that's how it is. Political opponents will try to mess you up. The committee person may be with them and messing things up along the way. But what are you going to do about that? Do you have your poll watchers with their credentials? Credentials means they get to go in and check. They get to check the numbers to see what's going on. You have to be on it. And if you're not on it, you're going to lose.
Sure. And before commercial break, we were talking about some dirty politics. Trudy, you mentioned that the word was going around that Bill is not going to win, so you might as well not vote for him. Was there anything more like that, dirty politics, Bill?
Yeah, they tore apart my banners. The Rogers Park Business Alliance called the owner of my campaign headquarters that was donated to me at the old Leona's on Sheridan Road.
Okay.
It became the Bill Morton for 49th Ward Alderman headquarters, the best headquarters on the north side.
Yeah.
And the Business Alliance, well, why are you donating this to? And the Business Alliance could lose their 501c3 nonprofit status by messing around with elections. And then I had my banner up. We had a big sign over the Leona's Oval. And then after the election, I wanted to keep it up. We wanted to keep on campaigning. This is a 4-year campaign. And then the alderwoman who won, Maria Hadden, she goes, oh, well, why is this sign up? It's embarrassing. She's calling up, as the alderman, she's calling up about a political sign. And that's completely illegal. That's an ethics violation right there.
And she said that if you don't remove the sign, I'll go farther.
And that's a threat. And we see this all the time. There's all kinds of things. We've had 100 banners, yard signs, long banners, and window signs torn down.
Wow.
We get a business to put them up, and they come and they tear them down. And they also threatened one of our volunteers who had a was it a banner or a yard sign in his front yard? Our IT guy.
It was just a window sign, I think.
He had a sign, a big sign, and they threatened him as well. And that's just not right.
That's interesting. Was there a lot of police reports made because of all this
We
damage?
did make police reports. They went nowhere. We did install cameras afterwards. Then it stopped. So they're trying to be on the sneak, on the sly. I want to catch them red-handed next time around. I want to catch them red-handed. I want to file a police report, and I want to press charges because they will do it again. And that is, those banners are like $100 each sometimes.
And I just wonder what enforcement there will be. Of course, we'll file the police report, but people that are hurting people, that are committing murders or battery, those are being released. And us losing a couple of banners and not losing a life, I wonder what enforcement there will be.
I don't believe there will be any enforcement.
And that's what they think. That's why they're so comfortable with all the vandalism.
A lot of these, like the Rogers Park Business Alliance, sometimes they're acting like the Karen Homeowners Association. They're just going around. They'll make calls like, why are you doing this with Bill? Why are you doing that? And it's just, it's just absolutely ludicrous that they're getting all up in my business when it's a free and fair electoral process. They got to get in my business because I'm a threat. I'm a threat to them. Me becoming alderman is a threat to the status quo of the socialists, to the progressives and the Democratic Party as a whole.
And that's why you're on the show. You're going to expose these bozos for society, the community.
I'm going to politically take them out.
Okay.
And win the election for 49th Ward Alderman.
Amen. You have my support, Bill.
Thank you.
100%. Leona is a beautiful location. It's like a stone throw away from the beach, right?
Yeah, it's right there, and we had 80 parking spaces, and
wow,
it was a flagship location where they made all the dough for all the Leonas.
Okay,
and the place is like a time capsule. It was closed for like 4 or 5 years.
All right,
and the funny part is it was supposed to be used for a cannabis dispensary, and that would have filled the empty storefront. I'm also president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Filling an empty storefront is something that I see as a priority. That brings economic stabilization to our neighborhood. That would have been good. And we were talking with the owner of the building and the cannabis company Zenleaf about that. And we were brokering a community benefits agreement with them, so that they would put money they pump money into our community during their 20-year lease. And Alderman Maria Hadden put the nix on that, X'd it out, denied the permit. They spent a year. They had to have a year residency. So they had to rent the Leonas out from the owner for an entire year to apply for the permit. I think the permit was, what, $10,000, Trudy?
Yes, $10,000.
$10,000. And then she
per month.
Well, the permit's different. The rent was $10,000 a month.
Well, yes.
And then there was a permit application, non-returnable. And then after they got that, Maria Hadden was like, I don't know. And then no. Like no rhyme or reason at all. And that was, I believe that was bad for our community. There were some who oppose it. There were some who are for it. But you have to go with the majority. And that's my belief on it.
She doesn't want anything in the ward, it sounds like. No small businesses.
There was a church that wanted to go onto Morse Avenue in the old Chase Bank building.
Okay.
They wanted to rent it. They needed a special permit because it was a business district.
Okay.
She said no. They had the money. She said no. So she's leaving these empty storefronts. And they're getting broken windows, graffiti, and right in front of that Chase building. If there was a church there would have been people there. Right after she said no, somebody had a tractor or a plow and pulled out the ATM. I've never heard of such a thing.
Wow.
And that was all over the news. They just pulled the ATM out of the ground. They stole the tractor from like this west side or something, drove it all the way to Rogers Park because it was everything's easy. Crime, I guess, is easy in Rogers Park.
Right.
And they just chose that one and pulled it out of the ground.
That's crazy.
And the bank used to be there, but it's not. With that Leona's, while we were there, we took care of the business. We always had people there. We had large events, large parties, no instances whatsoever for our political fundraisers. And when we got out of the campaign headquarters, someone tried to break in the window. There's a whole bunch of pants and underwear all over the floor around there, and shoes and garbage and liquor and needles and things. You need to not have empty, abandoned-looking storefronts in the 49th Ward. I don't know why she doesn't understand that. We need to fill these empty storefronts.
Sounds like she just likes collecting her six-figure salary, puts her feet on a lazy boy sofa and call it a day.
Ride her scooter, park it in a no parking zone, call it a day.
It's crazy. Would you say there's a lot of businesses in the 49th Ward that's closed left and right with graffiti on it?
There, we had a whole gang graffiti. I'm not going to mention which gang it was. Don't need that kind of retribution right now.
Right.
But it was a gang, and I caught the guy in the act, and I was like, hey. I went right up to him, and then he started coming up to me and said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not into getting into physical altercations with our local gangs. Okay. So anyway, I kind of let him go. He says, what are you gonna do? Call the police? Then call the police. It's the brazenness, because they know it's a revolving door. We still have Kim Fox in there.
That's
State's
true.
Attorney Kim Fox.
Yep. She's pro-criminal. I know.
And then we've got Maria Hadden, who's against. I don't know. She's not for the police. She doesn't work well with the police. She doesn't communicate with the police. I'll say it just like that. And so crime after crime after crime. We're pulling FOIAs, Freedom of Information Act requests, all over the place, and trying to understand what's going on. We pulled up FOIAs on Maria Hadden's campaign office.
Okay.
And before she was there, we couldn't find anything. And then when she was there, Trudy, what were the results of that?
There was a lot. There was at first there was absolutely nothing. The police gave us all the information. There were reports. Nothing reported around where her headquarters is on Morton. And what is that street again? Greenleaf.
Yeah.
So after she came in and Greenview. Okay. After she came in, then there were all sorts of different crimes, like dealing, and then people that weren't supposed to be there, and all sorts of disturbances. It's like, I would say maybe at least 60, 70 incidents over 2 or 3 years or more.
There was someone who broke her window, and she said I don't know what she said, but someone broke her window. She didn't press charges. Someone, this panhandler was aggressive and doing tricks in the alley behind Morris Fresh Market. She was selling streetwise in the front and begging in the front, panhandling in the front, and then she was doing tricks in the back in the alley. And there were some people who complained about her, and when the police came to take care of that, she called the police and yelled at them. So there's a lot of issues, and in that same Morris Fresh Market, our friend Pablo got stabbed in the gut.
I know. We had a press conference, Bill.
He got stabbed in the gut.
I know.
I mean, where is it acceptable to have gang graffiti, stabbed in the gut, all, pulling tricks in the alleys, breaking windows, breaking in, and all these murders that are going on? Just about 2 weeks ago.
I'll tell you what, that was probably one of Maria Hadden's proud constituents.
I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, I have a YouTube channel, Bill Morton Rogers Park, and so I've got over 2,800 videos over the past 20 years in there of Rogers Park, just day in the life. And so I was over at the Rogers Avenue CTA viaduct, just recording the trains and the cars and whatever was going on, pop, like machine guns.
Jesus.
And I got that on my video, and I fortunately had it on a tripod. I ducked down between 2 trucks in front of Runge's Auto, and I stayed there for quite a while. You don't know how long this is going to last. You don't know about the trauma and the threat of gun violence until you've actually been that close, and you hear the zing.
Right.
That means it came across your head.
Jesus.
So I believe in public safety, public health, housing, jobs, education. I want to get rid of the rats. I want to improve our crumbling infrastructure. Running for 49th Ward Alderman, Bill Morton. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you for coming to the show, you two. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Pat, for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in on WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM on the Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. We look forward to you next week. We got Mr. Hanson on June 12th.
WCGO 1590 AM, W240EH 95.9 FM, Evanston, Chicago.